written production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.
Good to go?
Yeah, good to go, Brian.
Madam President, directors of the board, I just wanted to speak to you today about golf's upcoming plans for this overseeding season and as it relates to water use. Just a little bit background on ADWR's management plan, history and future. Water is to become more and more scarce for RCSC golf courses. The Arizona Department of Water Resources, ADWR, and their third management plan has been in effect for the last 22 years, over twice as long as intended. In an effort to catch up, ADWR will put into effect the fourth management plan on January 1st, 2023, reducing RCSC's annual water allotment allocation for its golf courses by 6.67%, which computes to 339.28 acre feet and is half of the water allocated annually for a course like Riverview. Unfortunately, it does not end there. ADWR is on track to put the most stringent water conservation plan in its history into effect, the fifth management plan on January 1st, 2025, reducing RCSC's water allocation a total of 15.38% from the current third management plan, which computes to 781.85 acre feet and is greater than Lakes West and Viewpoint's annual allocation combined. In addition, this year we're having some seed issues brought about by the pandemic. Columbia Seeds, a large commercial producer of seeds, was purchased by Scott's Turf in response to residential demand for seed. Scott's Turf has no plans to supply commercial seed for the 2021 season. The reduction of seed availability has resulted in substantial increase in expected prices. Pricing for seed is normally available in May, however, not expected until June this year. We have been given a ceiling of $1.65 per pound on the seed blend we have used for the fairways the last few years, an expected floor of $1.50 per pound. This is an increase of 79% on the ceiling and 63% on the floor. Last year we purchased 208,000 pounds of our fairway blend. This year the max available is 189,000 pounds. Other options are available, would come at a much higher cost. We have pricing from another vendor in excess of $2 per pound. Our plan for the golf plan for the 2021 overseed season is, with the upcoming water reductions and current seed pricing issues, we propose to forego overseeding fairways both on the south course and the lakes course. Tee boxes, greens, and green complexes will still be overseeded. November through March, water usage accounts for 17.8% of each golf course's water allotment. For south, this would equal 161.21 acre feet of water. Water usage for fairways accounts for 45% of water usage from November 1st through March 31st. For south, this would equal 72.54 acre feet of water. Though the dormant Bermuda will still require some watering, we expect to save 62 acre feet of water at south during the non-overseeded period. The additional benefits, seed savings for south would be $29,700, Lakes East $8,910. Fertilizer savings of $6,250. That's for both courses combined. Lakes East would save 19.3 acre feet of water, combined water savings of 91.8 between South and Lakes East. Course fairways would receive a rest from the overseed process and a chance to test colorants during dormancy should ADWR restrictions lead to more non-overseeded fairways.
Okay.
Any questions?
Secretary Lear.
Regarding ADWR,
You know, because when when we had the inspector guy come out and do the
Whitlar.
grounds,
You're talking Brian Whitlar,
Yeah.
USGA guy?
USGA,
Okay.
you know, and he talked about, working with them, because we have 8 golf courses, we can't possibly do 8 golf courses, all at once. And I know Jan's been trying to talk to somebody over there. I guess I'm kind of wondering, if we're going to go forward with this, which we will have to, I would assume we're going to go all the way to, the 4th plan. Don't bother with the interim plan. But,
You mean the 5th?
or the 5th plan, 4th and 5th, sorry. But what can we do as far as, we can't do all of them at once. Is there any options for an organization like ours that has 8 golf courses?
I'm sorry. That's Secretary Lair.
Yeah.
I think Bill wants to address this, but I think I can.
Go for it.
This step that we're taking now is we hope to show ADWR that our commitment to saving water for now and in the future is strong. So as Jan and Mr. Cook move forward with working with ADWR to search for some leniency on implementing the 5th management plan, proving that we're committed to water savings is going to be show a strong commitment by RCSC of adhering to the future plans of ADWR.
Okay. I have another question. Okay.
So there's many components that will address the issues with ADWR. So it's not just overseed, but it's also looking at native grasses, it's looking at turf reduction, it's looking at, south, we still have to do some, replace some of the watering system there. I mean, there's many things that we're looking at that we're putting into place. We're looking at affluent water, actually. I had a discussion with both Peoria and El Mirage, who both have processing plants within 2 miles of our location, both in the north and the south. And that would get us a 60% credit if we utilize affluent water. And they're very interested in that because they have more water, they're processing more water than people are using. So there's many things that are going to go into the 8 courses. This is just the start, and it's our way of showing ADWR that we're being proactive, because we need to go down there probably 3rd, 4th quarter, and we're going to address both the 4th management plan and the 5th, because we only have administrative relief for the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So we need to address both the 4th and the 5th.
And where are we at with that? Administrative relief?
We have to still we are right now in the process of putting our plan together. So we're working with our architect, Gary, and Brian and I and Jan are all putting all of this plan in terms of what we think we can do to address, and hopefully get some relief related to both plans. So to answer your question, our goal is to be, I believe, to be in a meeting with AWR by 3rd quarter. I believe that's the goal.
Okay.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
And the plans that you had written up, or the golf, turf reduction plans, really don't cut it anymore, is that correct?
The original plans drawn up by
Were
direct or
like a year
our
or 2
architect
ago?
Yeah.
were before we knew the exact guidelines ADWR was putting forth. So Gary is going back now and fine-tuning what was done. Basically, by the 5th management plan, ADWR is going to be giving us enough water to water 90 acres of turf at a level that would keep turf alive, if that makes.
And when you're talking 90 acres and you've got south at over 200 acres.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
a problem.
So, there's nothing saying, it's not like ADWR is saying you have to reduce turf, but they're only going to give you 90 acres worth of water. So if we had to water 200 acres with 90 acres worth of turf, we would not have very healthy turf.
I have another question.
Okay, hang on. Treasurer Rooney.
Okay, no problem. No, go ahead.
No, I just was wondering about the organization and if you have a relationship with them today, are they aware of everything we do here? Are we working with them to show them? And how responsive are they when we actually provide that information? How long does it take for them to respond and know if we're on the right track or not? Do you know?
I know when Jan was working, or Director Rooney, I know when Jan was working through
Okay, I need the board to listen.
the third management plan and the relief that we were granted, they were very responsive. They've gone through a lot of changes recently. We sat in on a conference call recently where they openly expressed a desire to work with not just us, but people like us that have unique situations. So obviously, it's important to us, but they have a lot of, because their plan not only covers golf, but it also covers farming and all other users of water. So I'm sure they're being inundated at this time.
So Brian, can I ask though, when we do not overseed south and east, what are we going to get?
Well,
What's it going to look like?
without, if we don't use colorants, you would have, if you've ever watched golf on TV, like the Phoenix Open would be a good one. Our fairways would look like they're rough. It turns a yellowish color. So, but we do have the option, we're exploring the use of colorants, which would keep not only the grass looking green, but also provide some warmth. And our recent history has been that our grass has been going dormant later than it had historically, and coming out of dormancy earlier than it had historically. So when it's all said and done, we overseed for probably about 2.5 months worth of dormancy. So it will be interesting to see.
So the one positive, a global one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Steve.
You said that there's a possibility of working with water purification, so that would be piping it into our facilities. My question is, at this time, would it be more feasible to look into the pricing of getting the water brought in from these purification systems to our courses rather than turf reduction?
So we're really early on in those stages and discussions with both Peoria and El Mirage. The cost of the actual distribution may be borne by those two locations. So that may be an option where they would bill us back for the water usage, but they would then provide the piping for that. We're very, very early on. I've had 2 conversations with each. Peoria, the gentleman I spoke with at Peoria is escalating that at the highest levels. They're actually right now laying the groundwork to go north, but they really don't have customers in mind that would fully utilize the capability of their waste management processing plants.
Right, because then we could use, if we had that, we wouldn't have to do as much turf reduction in a hurry.
Can I
Those
answer?
2 courses.
Director Collins, in our recent conference call with ADWR, they made the statement that if we use 1 drop of well water, we will be held to our allocation. So even though the use of effluent water would give us some credits and allow us to stretch our allocation, we would still only be allocated a certain amount of water.
Okay, questions is
I know this is a way out question at this point, but do we have any idea on a course, I'm going to just pick south because it's probably worst case scenario, what you would be looking at as far as turf reduction, getting this into the 5th management plan?
If you go straight from a turf category, we'd be looking at 110 acres of turf reduction.
Right, but what's the cost associated? What do you think ballpark? And I'm just It's out there, I know
The
that.
current estimates that we have right now are $25,000 to $30,000 an acre for.
$25,000 to $30,000
No,
an acre.
no, that's for plans like we have done in the past with a lot of shrubs and the irrigation related to the shrubs.
And that's the per acre regarding removal.
Removal and installation of.
Okay.
the
But those are
material.
the acres you're talking about,
Yeah.
as far as the price goes. The other question I had, can I ask another one right away?
Sure.
Okay, good. The other question I had is, and I know this again is kind of out there, but if you were going to sit down today and decide where you're going to start with this, what's your best guess at this point?
As far as turf reduction,
What facility, what course are you going to start?
south would make the.
South would be top of the heap?
South would give us the biggest impact with ADWR, I feel, and
Okay.
showing that we're willing to reduce
Okay.
a significant amount of turf. We're also looking, in the very early stages, there's a new Bermuda surface called Tif-Tuff that was actually discussed by Brian Whitlark at the USGA meeting, and we're looking at doing a trial of that in conjunction with the Lakes East bunker project this summer. That turf uses about 30% less water than the previous version, its previous version, which is probably saves more water than our fairways or common Bermuda. So I'd imagine our water savings would be even more significant. So
And how is that in comparison to what we're currently using
from what
cost-wise? Cost-wise, because you're talking about a different kind of seed, correct?
Yeah, it's, the process to introduce it would either be sodding or sprigging, and it was $4,000 to $5,000 an acre to convert
Okay.
our fairways to, from what we currently have to Tif-Tuff is the estimate that I was given.
Okay. Other questions, Steve?
I know that what you said in the past was we were going to be given 90 feet per acre feet per course. Would we be able to divide the south course into two courses and gain anything by doing that?
I think ADWR would see through. They do, like a course like Lakes East, that's considered an executive course. They're not given a full 98, they're actually considered 45 acres by ADWR's guidelines, which Lakes East falls, with our recent turf reduction, actually falls under. So it's the only course that we currently have that would fall under their guidelines.
Okay. Other questions? Yes.
What do you estimate the length of time for this undertaking? Let's take South as an example, since that's probably where you would start. For the whole project, start to finish, what are you anticipating? A year, 2 years,
No,
a week?
it would, obviously,
Just asking a
I can
question.
definitively say not a week, Director Lair. Willow Creek, it could certainly be done over the course of 5 or 6 months.
Oh, okay.
We would most likely do like we did with the other renovations and close down in following the course going dormant in November, December, and work through the summer and have it ready to
Yeah,
go.
I thought we would close the course down for like a year or something, but I thought it was like a year.
When we did North, we closed in November and were open by the following October. So, but that was also, we also did obviously it would depend on the extent of the renovation if we decided to do something besides just turf reduction. But with North, we did the greens and tees and irrigation.
That was another question, just to follow up on that. So when we're looking at something like South, is it a big change in irrigation? We have to redo like we did at Willow Creek and?
I would say right now we're exploring, Director Lair, a lot of different options. South is the one, it's probably been 11 or 12 years since the irrigation study was done that led to the renovations at the other courses. You know, at the time, South fell within the 80% of water utilization that the irrigation system should, but that was 10 years ago, so it may be time to look at redoing the entire irrigation system. But, you know, Gary's also looking at just following the irrigation lines and removing heads and just moving the turf to where the heads would water that we currently have.
Okay.
Bill?
Director Lair, board members, I also, just to add, when we go down to AWR, part of the negotiation will also be to extend time to implement whatever plan we have in place. So the plan would be to have a timeline and ask them for, you know, granting us that timeline to implement. So this will all be part of that as well.
Okay.
Madam President,
Yes.
Mr. Cook and Mr. Duthu, I think, would it be fair to say that putting, as I know we're going to be looking at PIF here coming up, would it be fair in your estimation to say that ADWR is going to kind of push turf reduction to the top of the chart as far as the PIF is concerned, so that we get these courses reduced as quickly as possible to 90 acres?
Director Hofer, to answer that question, I would say that yes, this is a governmental regulation that we would have to comply with, and therefore that would, you know, raise that to the top. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Do we know how much the lake issue adds to our water usage that's showing up as part of our course issue?
600. Director Collins, right now, board members, right now, at 699 acre feet a year is the water loss through the bottom of the lake. That counts against our allotment.
So if we fix that, it would be showing a great, on our part, a great feature that we've done immediately.
As far as water savings, that would be to demonstrate to ADWR, that's probably the single most important project that would show. My earlier answer was for golf courses specifically, but the lake is a much bigger.
Thank you.
So the lake before south is what you're saying now?
I would say,
Okay.
from an ADWR standpoint, I would think that would make the most impact, but I can't obviously speak for them.
Board members, so we actually have, so Jan put together an RFP to address the lake issue. So we have vendors that have already come back. We have 2 that have already come back and given us quotes for that. So that's all part of the plan as well, to address that with ADWR.
Very good. Any other questions?
Comment.
Or comments?
It doesn't look good for us.
Thank you for all your hard work, guys.
So it kind of means that what we're looking at right now and trying to get redone may be pushed down on our PIF schedule.
Very much so.
That's a distinct possibility, yes.
Wow. It's going to be fun. Okay, all right. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you very much. With this, we'll end the planning session. See you guys in June.
Copywritten production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.